First, let's catch up. Kishane Thompson, recent Olympic silver medalist, a top 10 fastest man all time, debuts his 2025 season with an unconventional outdoor 60-meter race. A powerful 6.48 seconds, an already phenomenal time, but the caveat, a negative 2.1 headwind. Remove the wind entirely and that translates to a 6.38, a time that would land him number 2 all time. So the fans are rightfully hyped, but there is a little bit of speculation on the wind reading. Although we don't need to look into it too much, because he's running indoors the very next week. And here we are, present day, heading into Kishane's true indoor debut. Expectations were high, wind can't affect him here, a historic time is in the cards.
Så the man, Kishane Thompson.
6.58 in the heats, starts a little slow, but his top end is unmatched. Clearly, the final is going to be big.
He's got a little bit of work to do here because he's under pressure from Kemp. Now he's coming across the line. 6.56, it's not as fast.
6.56 seconds, a time certainly slower than expected, but well, there's always next time. He's hurt again, isn't he? Kishane cannot escape the always hurt allegations, but to what extent, we don't fully know yet. So while we were out here all expecting a near world record on the 60 meter, we would still get it, just not from Kishane. I do say this a lot, but this time I really mean it. Out of nowhere, 21-year-old Australian Lachlan Kennedy burst out the blocks to an early lead.
Kennedy's looking strong, he's going to hold on, it's Lachlan Kennedy! Lachlan Kennedy, what a run!
Spitting out a national record and a top 10 time in history, 6.43 seconds. Followed by a big New Zealand record by Tian Welpton and a slew of times good enough to challenge at World Indoors. A historic run, which would be met with a lot of negativity. Indoors and outdoors aren't the same. This is becoming a joke. Slowest 60 meter I've ever seen. And my favourite, wind assisted, realistically high 6.5. Firstly, this is just plain wrong. Adjusting the wind, it's still a 6.48. A less impressive top 40 time ever compared to top 10, but a time fast enough that still would have net him 4th at the World Championships last year. And besides, we don't need to wait all indoor season for Kennedy to run a 100 meters. It's the middle of the season in Oceania. He's running the 100 meters the very next day.
Great start made here from Lachlan Kennedy. Also Prince Jackson looking strong. Kennedy's out in front now as a party coming hard for him. Kennedy's got the jump though. Kennedy's going to get there. Holds on as a party into...
Okay, hear me out. That's a world lead and personal best for him still. Okay, but seriously, maybe 6.48 just isn't as blazing fast as we thought it was. For the world's fastest men, indoors is a rust breaker, a time to get some racing in, maybe work on some weaknesses while you're still under heavy training, far away from peaking for those world championship races months later. And if you don't mind me putting on my glasses here, the numbers don't lie. When dissecting history's top 10 fastest indoor 60 meter times, how quick do you think these athletes' 100 meter season openers were the very same season? Just straight up, not that quick. Of the 10 fastest 60s ever, only 2 athletes would open the outdoor season with a sub 10 clocking. One of those being illegal, and he'd run 10.06 in his next race anyway. So using Kennedy's corrected time of 6.48 seconds, 10.1 seconds into a negative headwind is completely plausible. And even though Australia's in the middle of the season, this was his first 100 meter in 8 months. The reality is, Kennedy's strength was always his start. He's the lead-off for Team Australia's 4x100 team. He also had a helpful wind, perfect conditions, and history's greatest 60 meter times just aren't as fast as we thought they were. But we did already kind of know this already. Although, Total Running Productions did bring up 7 out of the 8 runners in this field did PB this race. Maybe the clock was a little sus. Let me know what you think. But speaking of not so fast 60 meter times, the Olympic champion and self-proclaimed king of the sport, Noah Lyles, also opened his indoor season in an extremely difficult to follow 60 meter race. 6.62, 100th of a second faster than last year's opener, and just a reminder, this is the flow track that's going to stream the Diamond League this year. But the actual 60 meter indoor world lead sits at 6.50 seconds by an NCAA long jumper, JC Stevenson. The early season is always fun. On the women's side, very much like the men's, it's too early for times to be that interesting. But 2 times world champion Shericka Jackson is back, finishing second behind Jodine Williams in 7.15. A real rust breaker to say the least. But her incredible top end speed still shows itself a little. And for those of you who thought outdoor 60s were weird, that's right. The fastest women's 60 this week was run on a basketball court. Switzerland's Cam Bunji coming home in 7:14, looking good for another year. Now all the garbage is over, let's talk world records. I'm not sure what's been going on in Oceania, but first there was Gout Gout, then Kennedy's legitimate 60 metre time, and 2 world records in the mile? First, 18-year-old Australian prodigy Cameron Myers, best known for yoinking several of Jakob Ingebrigtsen's age grade world records, continues on his streak. Debuting his very first indoor race in New York, he'd make the move to lead from the halfway point, looking nothing but comfortable, cruising home his last 200 meters in 28 seconds.
Of concern as he just clicks it down here. A good effort at the end here, 3:53.12.
A new under 20 indoor world record by 2 entire seconds, and he wasn't even happy with it.
Yeah, it just didn't get really rolling, I guess. It's pretty good for first time running indoors. I think, hopefully get that down by the time Milrose is into race.
There should seriously be more hype around Myers, but I get it. Athletes outside of America just don't get the same exposure. But goddamn, man. He ran a 3:50 mile last year in high school, 3 seconds faster than Alan Webb's American record, and now he's opening his season with under 20 world records. And the second world record I got to witness in person, and the stream captures absolutely none of the action. Out in the beautiful Wanganui at the New Zealand Mile Championships, leading from gun to tape was eventual winner Sam Tanner, a 2-time New Zealand Olympian. Following in third was T13 para-athlete Jared Clifford, and intertwined in the chase pack was 15-year-old Sam Ruthe. Through the halfway mark, the leaders would split 2 minutes on the dot, meaning a negative split would be necessary to break 4. And while that was light work for the 2 leaders, agonizingly close, Paralympian Jared Clifford would barely miss it, 4 minutes on the dot, while 15-year-old Sam Ruthe had managed to put in work around the final straight to come home fourth in 4 minutes 1.72 seconds, an age grade 15 world record by 4 seconds. Long ago were the days where a sub 4 minute mile was once thought to be so unbelievably fast. They predicted your heart would explode from the sheer pressure. Now there's 15-year-olds within touching distance. What the hell is going on in Australia and New Zealand, and why isn't it happening to me? But the distance world records don't stop there. Another youth world record, 16-year-old Marta Alemayo out of Ethiopia, crashed the under 18 indoor 3K world record, just cutting it down by a minor 4.5 seconds.
You suspect the 16-year-old Alemayo coming home ahead of Gumi, and it is a new world under 18 record.
And that was kind of the interesting bits of week 1. We did get to see some fun debuts. Here's a name you probably haven't heard in a hot minute, Tuohy. She's back after a year-long hiatus, winning a mile race out in the Armory in 4:25.
Tuohy with the lead. Nielsen now going to try to move to the outside and challenge for the lead. Caitlin Tuohy's going to win this one though. Wire to wire, another victory at the Armory for Caitlin Tuohy.
Her iconic stride stays unchanging, but it looks like she's packed on a hefty amount of muscle. She's actually kind of jacked. And then there's also another disgustingly fast woman hurdler to add to the mix. Donisha Cartwright out of NCAA Division II, 7.78 seconds in the women's 60 hurdles. Faster than the Olympic champion, yet slower than 8 other women last year. And last but not least, the high jump world lead sits at 2.31 meters by Jamaican Raymond Richards. Week 1, done. The results can only get better from here. Exciting to see some big names back on the track, and I hope you're all doing well and excited for this track and field year. See you next time.